If you're looking for the definition of Black love, then our next couple is it. Chris and Tamara are recently engaged parents to a 7-month-old baby boy, and they're about to help us navigate parenthood, Black activism, and Limestone Love.
Um, let me just say this. When I first met him initially, we weren't in looking for a relationship mode.
First time I saw her, we were at a friend's house, and she was a musician. You know, she was a well-known musician at the time, singer, and I was a little bit attracted to her, but I didn't pay her any mind because I think both of us were the people at the time. But we became kind of friendly because we would always be at the same place, and we were not good friends quite yet, but we were cool.
And we did something called spoofs. Stalo Force is the name of the show or whatever, and they was doing little stuff. There was Phone Card Girl. Back in the day, used to be Thai Snack and Bamboo, for the, cutters. They had a song for cutters. It was I love the fact that I was able to use my acting talents because I always wanted to be a part of film. So for me, I found it alleviating to be a part of this little spoof thing that they had. So I felt privileged. I met him there. Of course, he had a girlfriend. And I was dating somebody. So we weren't there to be cordial in that manner. It was just about filming and being focused on the little spoof and being professional.
And she was quite different then, and so was I. I just put it that way, She dressed different, I think maybe even thought differently and had a completely different outlook in life than we do and we share now.
So when I first met him, I thought he's professional and he's really serious about this spoofing thing. So let me just be equally serious so we could get the finished product and we could put it out there for, I guess, audience and stuff like that. So definitely wasn't romantic or anything the first time I met him. And I met him again, random, downtown. I was working at the Straw Market Authority, and he worked at the Pompeii Museum. And we never booked for 4 years. We both worked a few buildings apart, eat at the same restaurants for lunch and breakfast, but we never, for some reason, booked. Until one day, in the summertime, he saw me. I was on a line getting breakfast. Regular breakfast run every morning, same time. And he spots me as he's coming into the arcade. I think it's Captain Vinny's downtown. That's where we had our first encounter after the first initial encounter. Because this time now we're both single, both different persons. He's now Pan-African, and I'm now a black socialist. I'm a, pro-black, and I'm an activist, and he's doing all these things for our community, our culture. I didn't even know he was into black history. So for me, he threw me a little for a loop because I was like, dude, now you turn into somebody you making seem like some kind of talking to, because you talking sense. Everybody else at the time was talking foolishness. So nothing was clicking, no relationships, I was literally at a solitude by myself.
And it was this nice, slim, dark-skinned girl. From the back, she looked, I said, boy, this girl looked like Queen Taye, just as a Nubian Egypto queen from back in the day. She had like these short locks, when she is slim, and she was wearing like this long flowing dress with a matching head wrap. And I saw her from behind. And I was just like, man, I'm the type of person to just seek at a girl or catcalling her, but I just was looking and admiring. And I don't know when she turned around, I didn't even realize when she turned around. She said, Christopher? And I was like, I look up at her face and I squint my eyes and I look at her, I say, man, that's Tamara. So she had a completely different look. She had these locks now, and I always had a thing for, attracted to women who look like they kind of right from the heart of Africa,
And being by myself, I ended up somehow connecting with him. And it's funny that he was available emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And, as we met, I would think who does this? You meet a girl who you haven't seen in so long, and the initial conversation is, I'm going to give you a book to read. I want you to read this book. Read this book and message me. Take my number, read this book. I'm going to send you this book, PDF. I'm going to send it to you. And you could read this and let me know what you think.
Because me, I very Afrocentric, you know, and that for me to have a serious partner, she have to be of that same political, social, and even spiritual outlook. And that video kind of confirmed it for me. And then after a while, you know, we start hanging out a little bit. I noticed she started trying to put me in the friend zone, calling me bro and stuff like that. And I was pretty frank with it. And I said, hey, I ain't no bro. I mean, I said bro from that sense, but I ain't your bro, you know.
Girl. Could I say fall in love? I was like, okay, so somebody challenging my brain, you know, to... And the book was called Black Women in Antiquities by Dr. Ivan Van Sertima.
And after a while, we just kept going on these little dates. I mean, it was pretty clear cut, you know, and I know that after I sent her that video, that's actually attached to a book as well, and her reaction from it, then that's when I knew, you know, we started talking about these things. It was refreshing to meet a woman who was so interested in these things as well.
And I cried because every chapter was about a different queen, and I love yourself. Basically, that's what he was telling me, and I was like, dude, that's this thing you got me all, you know, softly, like, what? I know, right? And so for me, he threw me for a loop.
So you guys are an absolutely beautiful, stunning couple, right? It's wow. It is a little bit weird and off-putting because I find you both very attractive. It's fine. So give us an idea, like, how did you guys even make the decision to, you know, be a part of this, you know, telling these limestone stories? Tell the people how you came to know about it.
Well, I just had a baby.
She's lying.
I'm not.
Okay, she's not.
7
But
months, yeah. I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw the ad for ISO TV. And it got me excited, and I was like, oh, I miss the film world, you know, being on a camera. And I was like, I don't even know if my partner would be interested in this, but you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. He going to go with it anyway. That's what I say, you know. So,
period.
Melanin. So we sent it out. Well, I sent it out to my email.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you might even answer me back. You know, because, you know, we so pro-black and it's the thing, you know. When I got that email, I was like, what? They like us, Chrissy? We have a meeting on Sunday at our bucket. It's good. He's like, okay, whatever you want, baby. Whatever you want. And then the meeting, the Zoom meeting, and shoots from you all say, you're looking like the ones. I'm like, okay, baby, we can do this now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this would be something nice to show at our wedding reception. Show our family.
So you guys are recently engaged.
Yes.
Okay. And when's the wedding? Because I want to make sure I get my dress ready.
Hey, September 11th, 9/11.
Wow. Look, see, Brenda, this is how you know. Because the date is set. This ain't no play to do.
9/11. Yes, and we decided but we chose that date for so many reasons. The stigma around the date, that's America's problem. I'm sorry to say it like that, but my birthday's a few days later, and we would like to go on honeymoon and experience that time together.
Yeah.
And have my birthday away from there. We haven't been away together in a long time. You know, COVID, causing a lot of these restrictions. But besides that, the numbers, the numerals 9 and 11, they represent us in a whole, as a total. We'll go into all that, but it's a lot of symbolizing of our love in that date. So yeah, that's why we chose that.
So you guys, you're both very unapologetically pro-black. You talk a lot about blackness and accepting and embracing your Africanness, which is amazing because I too as well.
Right.
my parents are Ghanaian, you know, this is very important to me, you know, so I love to see that. And I think I was saying to you guys earlier that I love Black love. Like it's a beautiful thing to see. So like, how do you, as this pro-Black couple, maneuver through the world where a lot of people are trying to be everything but
African? Well, like we say, we don't really be unapologetic with it. Both of us were already on that path before we met, and then when we met, it's like it all came together and we got even more involved in it, particularly me in the historical aspect of it. Sometimes it's difficult, you know, because a lot of the stigmas attach to Africa and all of these things, and it's frustrating for people like us because, you know, to use I don't want to use a cliche saying, but you know, you could take the African out of Africa, but you can't take the Africa out of the African. You know, so I tried, when I was younger, there used to be a lot of frustration. James Baldwin say, to be a conscious African or Black person in America is to be in a constant state of frustration. But you could apply that to the entire world, and particularly the Bahamas, especially when you have people who swallow the whitewash narrative,
Come on and
the
speak on it.
whitewashing of history and all of these things. You look around at our most prominent statues, you know. So, but on a day-to-day basis, I have to say, especially when I have discussions with people of what we like to call the conscious community, who've been there far longer than I have, who I used to look up to, and when I was just learning about some of these things, you know, and they had it a lot rougher. But now I have to admit that it is a lot more accepting now. Globally, people becoming more aware of issues that affect African people and the African diaspora. So it's not that same stigma that's attached, but at the same time, there are different aspects because the stigma is so strong that we literally have to be secretive about. We don't like to share too much because you have this negative connotation that's attached with anybody who is Afrocentric, whether it be politically, socially, or especially spiritually, you know. And it's so serious in the Bahamas that a lot of people don't know, but West African religion is actually legal in the Bahamas, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's blanketed as you know, the term obia and voodoo, and you would be surprised to know the things that we do every day that would be considered a part of this. And one of those things would have been, you know, they say that obia and voodoo is illegal and all these things for this and for that and for this, but at one of the last lines it says, even for restoring a person to health. Yeah, you know, so.
Bush medicine.
Right, you know, she big on her bush medicine too. And so things that we do every day and that we appreciate and we know have zero negative connotations. What it is African medicine, but you know, and doctors, but you got to put the witch in front of the doctor. A lot of these stigmas still exist here. And so from that aspect of it, and people, unfortunately, we've been convinced that being Afrocentric is diametrically opposed to being Christian, or diametrically opposed to being practical in any economic sense in the modern world. And that's far from the case, you understand? So I don't want to spend too much time on it, baby. But navigating that area, it sometimes could be difficult, but it's also a joyous thing. And we don't want to sound self-righteous or sound like we think that we are better than people. But we see a lot of things that we laugh at, you know. Things like bleaching is still very prevalent. You know, self-hate. Self-hate, right?
Disrespecting women.
Disrespecting women. The only prominent statue we have of a woman in this country is of Queen Victoria, a genocidal maniac who, in my opinion, should be categorized with your Leopolds and your Hitlers and your Stalins. You know, so I could go on and on about the frustration of being Afrocentric in the Bahamas, but on the day-to-day personal level, especially with my job, you know, working at the museum, people kind of give me a certain level of respect, assuming that I would know a little bit more than others, you know, and it could be difficult, but with Tamara, it's a lot easier. She's uplift my, what they say in Europe, she's uplift my Ori. She's bring my E-ray, which is blessing, also known as Irie, you know, Irie, E-ray, you know, all that stuff. So it's still a joyous life to live
Yes.
and appreciative, especially
And
living.
And to be treated like a queen every day.
Yeah.
And speaking of all this joy,
Yeah.
you guys just recently had a bundle of joy.
Big
You
time,
just had
yeah.
a big old bundle of joy brought into
Yeah.
your lives.
7 months, baby.
7 months old.
I can call his name Christopher Edward Brave Adachino Davis.
Come on and be a name.
Sorry, yeah, Adachino.
Come on and be,
Yeah.
come on and
So-
have a good, strong.
And Adachino, it has to do a lot with our own spiritual journey as well. But he is a man who is an incredible historical figure. His Western name is Rodrigo Herrera.
Okay.
In many circles, he's considered the father of African religion in the Western Hemisphere. He is one of the baddest men that you could ever hear about. He brought a lot of the secrets of our ancestors over to the Western Hemisphere, made a lot of money, became extremely wealthy, disguised himself, went back to Africa, then came back willingly again, just so that he could bring some other knowledge and stuff that was needed over here. And a lot of this manifests today in some of the African villages all throughout the Western Hemisphere that adhere to many of the principles that was brought over to the Western Hemisphere by men like him.
Nice.
And I named my son after him.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
What is it like navigating? Because you guys are relatively young, you know? How is it navigating all of the things that you are clearly passionate about and all of the things, you know, the challenges that just happen, you know? How do you navigate? How do you make that work and still make time for each other and still make time for all the things that, you know, your activism and your research and all this stuff? Like, how do you balance that?
Honestly, life is balance. Life is balance. You cannot make controlling a situation or getting things to go your way. You shouldn't try to control that. Sometimes life is really just like a river, and it just flowing. You just let that flow. Dealing with him and his personal achievements and things that he wished to also achieve, not only for himself but for our son, for our relationship. Just being a supporter, I feel like, is a lot more helpful in a relationship, because sometimes everybody wants to be the star. Everybody wants to shine and be the person in the relationship that everyone talks about. But for me, it's not about, I have my own shine. You know, besides music and everything else that I'm a part of and associate myself with, he got to shine. So the balance comes with support me and I support you. And I always get support from him with I could say, I woke up and baby, I think we should start selling sneakers. We're going to put African labels on them. We're going to just do, and he's going to be the one to say, okay, well, I know somebody who could this, and let me call this person and find out. And then, you know, it just clicks like that. And then when it comes to him and his work, Tommy, I have an idea on this book. What do you think about this? And how, give me your point. Give me me something to work with. And, you know, he'll go with it, he'll be like, okay, how does it sound? How that sound? It's about piggybacking on each other's personal achievements and helping each other to rise to be the best. So the balance comes. It's that flow of support that you should have in place, and the respect that if that's what somebody wants to do, don't be the naysayer or the killjoy to take that dream and, you know, belittle that. You should put a little seed on there, put some soil and cover that, and then put some water, and you should help that to grow. And who knows?
That's a difficult thing to answer because it's not one particular thing. It's, you know, it's many things, not even several, many things.
Honestly, it's him. And when I say it's him, his soul, he has one of those, I don't even know how to express it because it's something that's going to sound like an alien. Like it's going to sound like, he's going to sound like an alien if I express the type of person he is.
You know, first of all, she has a great sense of humor. We share a lot of the same jokes. She's also unapologetically, you know, Afrocentric. She's proud of her African roots. You know, I'm a big fan of, you know, Bahamian history and someone's heritage and roots. It means a lot to me. You know, she have roots in Crooked Island, South Andros, you know, so she's a real down-home Bahamian woman who is not ashamed of her African roots. You know, And like I said before, you know, I like women who love themselves, not afraid to show themselves, wear their hair naturally, and all of these things. That's what initially kind of attracted me to her.
And then I don't get bad vibes. Like, respect is his number one thing that he gives me. That's what I'm trying to tell you, is like, it's so much I could run on all day. But I'm going to keep it 2 minutes, like, you know, short. And I'm going to just say 30 seconds short. I'm going to just say he's overall a very good person. And it's hard to find a good, respectable, non-womanizing man that's going to just treat you like the queen you are and make you feel like, oh, yeah, she bad. But boom, you the business. You the business, and ain't nobody ready for you. What? You see you? And it's good to feel like that, because when you're with somebody that don't keep your confidence up, that's how you drift. That's how you find confidants, people that be, you know. And for me, we're both each other's confidants. So everything about him, basically.
She is kind of keep me in check. Oh, don't forget you have to do this. Or you paid for this yet, or, you know, don't forget you're supposed to meet with so and so at this time on this date, you know. So that might seem trivial, but it's huge for me, and my quality of life and my career, all of these things have just been a lot better since she came into it. She don't get hungry, she just skip hungry, and she just go right to hangry. So if she ain't eat that day, she is be in a bad mood, and you know what I mean? So, as much as she could be, I already know the ways to make her. When they bring her something to eat.
He's a critical and an analytical thinker. And men that are like that. I'm learning this because, you know, as a young woman, I'm only in my 30s, so I know there are going to be other young women out there coming up behind me, and they're going to need to know this. When you find an analytical, intelligent man that's always in a book reading, that's always focused on something that's of a greater cause beyond what y'all got going on right there. And not to say what you got is less, but the world is burning around you, and someone's willing to do something about it in that relationship. You kind of don't chastise every time he has bad memory. Like, he doesn't, like, once he sees focus on something, he does not deter until whatever he's trying to think or get down written or whatever is done. And so for me, the annoying part is he tends to forget.
Wasting time, sometimes he just want to sit there and watch some Marvel movies, and that's when she decides to have a 3-hour conversation.
And it's not that and I realized, I thought it was intentional at first, but I realize it now, an analytical thinker, someone that's very intelligent and has a lot of knowledge stuck in their head, you can't really put too much on them, especially demands like, I need you to dine in. Make a list. You know, if you could deal with some of the stuff, thank God, and then find somebody, friends, because I have our son's godparents. They help us, you know. It's a community. So that's how I had to learn, you know, yeah.
But all those are small, trivial things, you know what I mean? It's nothing major that I could actually say, you know what, I can't stand when she used to do this, I can't stand when she used to do that. And both of us, because we communicate a lot, we know what the other one pet peeve is. I sure home would probably be like, I used to be a little messy sometimes, but I used to be tired when I reach home from work, you know.
But I'm being honest, he doesn't have a temper. And that's weird. And the type of temper he have, it's like a baby temper. Like, you know when baby throw tantrums? But not like wah, 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 but more like, if they ain't on your run, they ain't on your run, so they ain't running on and they ain't rowing, you know, so that's really his temper. And I could always tell when I see that, I'd be like, okay, you know, my run right now, let me go do something else.
Me, except for when she hungry. Me, except for when she hungry, yeah.
But me, I'm vocal. Something bothering me, buddy, you ain't gotta worry. You would know. And so for us, that's where we kind of balance. He don't just attack when he's angry. For me, I come in for your neck.
Me, of course. I used to big prankster. I used to one who always get, you know, I always, trust me, I always riding up, playing little small jokes. I don't go extreme now. I don't do nothing extreme. Like, of course, I come in the house swinging at me, you know what I mean? But I love to just pull her leg a little bit because she a little uptight sometimes, you know, and I just do that to get her to relax. And I'd, you know, tell her something, you know, go on a ride. She'd be like, oh my God, for real, for real. I'd be like, no, you're not. I say, oh, I don't let it last long.
We so funny. We so funny. Oh my God. You don't want to see us on this camera. I think we make people laugh before they actually listen to what we saying, you know, because we talk fool all the time. We both funny. I can't say I think he's funny too. So, yeah.
Okay, so my final question for you guys is, what, if anything, do you hope young couples, old couples, couples who've been together for a really long time, couples who maybe just starting out, what do you hope they take from your Limestone Love story?
Well, how about we do this? You talk to the women, I can talk to the men.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
So you go first.
Okay, so for me, young or old, because I'm in between, so I could speak kind of to both category. For me, I feel patience is something, and love is something that we don't give ourselves enough of as individuals. And I'm not speaking about giving it to the male counterpart. I'm speaking about giving it to yourself. You have to be patient with yourself. You're still growing. You're still a flower. You understand? And sometimes you don't get exactly what you want. And sometimes you don't ask for exactly what you want. And when you see yourself faced with obstacles keep coming in your way, personal love and personal respect, you can't go wrong with that. Give yourself it, and I feel like your counterpart will somehow just find you because you're so focused on yourself. You ain't looking left, and you definitely ain't looking right. So for me, I know I had to be patient still and listen. I had to listen. Do's and don'ts, you ain't gonna know. Life is really a river. Like I say, it's a flow. So if you don't go with it and you kind of want to go against the tide, it will be harder. But natural flow is where I'm at for the women.
Yeah.
How about you?
So for me, you know, when I speak in from the perspective of people like me, you know, Bahamians, black men in the Bahamas, you know, when you start to fully immerse yourself in your true culture and your true identity and put away some of these things that come through Eurocentric lenses, through colonization, you can start to have a different outlook about yourself and about women. You know, they have a great, one of probably our greatest minds ever, Dr. John Henry Clark. He said that every African society was based on honor and obligation, right? And then you even see in Roots, you know, whether you like it or not, but in the beginning they give you some important information. When he's becoming a Mandinka warrior, you know, everybody thought, yeah, African warrior thinking this can be something, you know, and the man asked them, what's the most important thing for a Mandinka warrior? All them talking about defeating the enemy, you know, learning this weapon the best and having the shield and all this stuff. The man say, no, raising the family. You understand? So that is the honor and the obligation for me, you know, and that's the way I look at it. And like I mentioned before, it's compromise. I believe personally that our historical experience, our current experiences, they really hinder us in a lot of ways and cause us to lose seeing the value in each other, particularly when we uplift other cultures above our own. You understand? And most of these outlooks that we have now, they very male-centric, they very paternalistic, and patriarchal as well. And so that's why we have a certain outlook. And we should learn to be sensitive towards some of these things. And, you know, the black man needs the black woman, and the black woman needs the black man. You understand? Black men have to come to the realization, and this is not the overtly mainstream feminist outlook. This dealing with us internally in our community. You know, in every community, in every society, you have the men and the family. So black men should not be seeking to chase every skirt and do all these things. Sizzler say in the song, Kings of the Earth, come to yourself. You cannot chase every skirt just because God bless you with your wealth. So because you have things, because you're doing well, and I hate to say it, you know, I may be breaking some guy code or whatever, but that's that's the reality of it here, man. These men don't value the African woman as we should, and that's because we're not taught to, and we conditioned not to. Then you have a lot of black women who conform to ideas that may not be conducive to our well-being. You know, some of them, it don't really matter. I'm not talking about trivial things. I'm talking about, you know, and I feel that when we have once again mend these things and we develop this undying love for each other, when a black man grow up as a little boy saying, boy, I can't wait to be a husband to a black woman. Instead of, I can't wait to get myself this way and that way. Go, you know, get myself a nice this or a nice that or a nice that. Or, you know, they had some comments from Trick Daddy. I ain't gonna repeat them, but you know, he essentially was saying in a nutshell that, you know, if these Latino women and these Asian women and these white women learn how to fry chicken, y'all black women pretty much can be useless. These type of sentiments that we have to do away with. And I feel like a lot of things will fall into place. You will see a lot more black families, a lot more balance, a lot more understanding between us. And that's my input. That's my advice. You know, it may seem, you know, a lot of fellas be like, I in Africa, I know African, I born in the Bahamas. You was African. Okay?
Basically.
So get back to your thing. We ain't gotta go in the jungle and sing kumbaya and put on the shikis and burn sage every day. But like I said, politically, socially, and some could argue even spiritually, we have to do things that are conducive to ourselves and our culture, and go back to the times when we could be proud. And
women, stop complaining about helping your partner. Stop complaining about, oh, I need it.
And the same thing vice versa.
And men, stop doing that. Sometimes it's good to just pick up the mantle. When I was pregnant, I couldn't cook. You could imagine me. You could imagine me with my belly. I couldn't cook. He had to pick up the mantle. I couldn't even pick up a broom. I couldn't pick up a mop. And I'm OCD bad. I need my place to be clean. Like, I'm watching these stuff and I'm like, I better get this broom right now, but I could, you know.
So I sweeping, mopping, cooking.
You have to be able to change roles. You know, it's not all about what you see.
Sometimes I complain while I was doing it, but I still did it.
But it got done.
I still did
it.
It
got done. So,
and again, a lot of people might say, oh, you know, I can't be sweeping up after no woman, and you know, it's this ego thing and self-esteem that exists on both sides of the spectrum that requires men, and you understand? And we have to, like I say, get back to our true selves, to our roots. And then hopefully, you know, our relationship isn't perfect, but we actually very, very happy.
Very happy.
You know, and we just have exciting things to look forward to. Getting married, besides CJ, all of these things.
It's a good year.
We was trying not to brag too much because, you know, 2020 was terrible for a lot of people, but it was a great year. Personally, for us.
We had a baby.
But as you know, and we believe in communal living, so we'll never say it was an outright great year. But for us personally, we had our first child, and we got engaged. I don't know if y'all have you showed them
the video. I sure did.
Oh, okay.
You sure?
You see how so that video could tell you who was the funny one. Watch the video and I can tell you who was the funny one. I still on that.
I don't know what it is about these couples that everybody won't claim the funny. But apparently that's a big deal. You know. So I thank you guys so much for being a part of this.
So I'm Tamara.
I'm Chris.
And this is our Limestone Love story. I'm Tamara.
I'm Chris.
And this is our... I thought you would have repeated.
Oh, I said...
Yeah.
Messing up all this good chemistry we had all day. Messing it up.
All right, let's go.